predictably cast in stone. Their behavioral patterns are not cast in stone individual basis.
Okay.
So that
Can a neutral person take up the job of a social worker? A neutral person, like someone who is not registered, who has not gone through training, can a person take up the job of a social worker, like
not,
do what a social
not
worker
exactly,
does?
not
Okay.
exactly, because we have had that challenge in the society where people think, what do you people do? Is it not counseling? Is it not, and we need to really look at the fact that our traditional institutions or informal forms of social helping, that's what we call it, have been impeding on our job as social workers. And society tends to appreciate more the informal forms of social helping. For example, when people have challenges, they would rather take it to their OB or the palace of their traditional ruler than coming to social workers who are trained. Yes, the traditional institutions may give solutions, but sometimes we end up having people who end up, with physicians. That was, you are now stuck. For example, let me give an instance. When a woman is having marital challenges and the matter is taken to the traditional ruler of her village, there is the tendency for them to want to coerce her into accepting the fact that a woman should be subservient, a woman should be submissive, a woman should be her, forgetting that she has her emotions, forgetting that she has some things that, yes, that she may acquiesce, she may submit to it because she may be afraid of the sanctions that may emanate from the intervention of the traditional ruler. But you have ended up wounding that woman inside. She may bottle it up and continue living with that man. But you see, over time, maybe especially when men
Right. So
All right, you welcome back. Yeah, you were speaking to.
So the point is, we are not adverse to having people join us in our profession. But what we are advocating these days is that if you are to practice social work on the periphery, you have to have some basic training so that maybe you end up being an ad hoc social worker, but not as it were a professional in the real sense. We've had instances where, for example, ladies or women who have traditional birth attendants, you know that in the course of delivering women of their pregnancies, some social issues crop up. Lagos State, for example, had to do something that was quite significant. They were trying to bar people from going to these traditional birth, knowing that sonar damage is always done in the end. But they found out that as much as they were trying to stop people, people were still patronizing them. So what the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development did was to bring in these women to train them on some basic social skills and whatever they need to handle such. In as much as we were not going to stop them from delivering these women of their pregnancies, but these are the skills that you need to arm yourself so that if anything goes wrong along the way, you will be able to tackle it. So we are not, like I said, we want people to join us, but don't take up the profession that you are not trained for, whether it's partial or at all. Just get some skill sets
So there are training centers
Sure.
where people go to get a certificate,
Sure.
rather a degree
Yeah,
on
we
social
have we
work.
have departments of social work in various Nigerian institutions. UNIBEN does social work at even to the PhD level. I was once there.
Okay.
Nsoka does it. Ibadan, University of Ibadan. There's so many of it, and many more are springing up. As the joy we have now is that the federal government is about regulating the profession.
Okay.
A bill, right? The bill was passed into an act recently. I think about 2 years ago. Because the UN and its affiliates have seen that we can't leave social work to just go haywire in a country as sensitive as Nigeria. So they intervened and they helped us to, handle some issues around the passage of the bill, and it was passed into law as an act. So there's an enabling law that says if you must practice social work, you must. But we found out that in many of our ministries and parastatals, MDAs, there are so many persons who are doing the work of social workers. For example, if you go to the Ministry of Women Affairs, you'll find out that there are so many persons who are doing jobs designated for social workers. Some of them are already aged, some of them are about to retire. You cannot ask them now to start going back to university to go and start
those persons are not certified.
They are not
They
certified.
just took it upon themselves.
Along the way, they just found themselves.
In the Western world,
not
social
necessarily
workers
Some of them are
Not necessarily.
qualified,
Actually,
but some of them.
after employment,
Certified.
because I was in the civil service before I retired,
Okay.
the Ministry of Women Affairs, we undergo training.
Okay.
There are UNICEF, USAID
In-house.
have been sending them to training, so they are already granted. Though it's not the normal, the formal educational system, but we are giving training on the various aspects of social work that you can do, according to all the departments. But what we are advocating for is we want it to really be formalized, so that as you are there, even if you are there, you want to progress, get more knowledge, so that you will be able to.
Very well now.
Exactly.
Because the society is
People
always
need to go
evolving.
Yeah, sure.
to work.
Sure.
The issues evolving in the society needs you to really be abreast, to really to refresh
Your memory.
Yeah,
your
exactly.
memory, refresh your profession, your knowledge of your profession, so that you'll be able to cope
With
what
the
is
trend.
happening. Yes.
I think what she said is important. Problems, social problems in society are evolving every day.
Yes.
Some of the challenges we confronted in the 90s, they are no longer what we are seeing today. So the social worker has to be abreast with the current realities. Your skill set of 1970 may not be applicable today. So you keep, like she said, upgrading your knowledge base.
Okay, I just want to ask a question, please. Because when you talked about social impairment, I was to look at it from the angle of people who have some disorders.
Okay.
For example, in the areas of autism, Down syndrome. Is that also within your core?
Exactly.
That is within your core.
Yes. Now let's start by saying that some of the impairments that people experience come from their upbringing. Whatever you are today is because you have been trained, raised through the socialization process to become what you are today. So nobody is necessarily born a deviant in society. It is because of the environment that you were exposed to when you were growing up that determine to a large extent what you turn out to be. So for the what do you call them now? Those children with autism, you from the ab initio we recognize that they have a challenge already, which may not help them develop into normal adults, as it were. In any case, we don't stigmatize them. We talk about the fact that they have challenges. You understand? I need to say here that we are very careful the kind of word or words that we use for people. talk about register. You know, we don't say somebody is mad, for example. We don't say somebody is insane. We may just say the person has a mental challenge, because that's just a part of him or her that has not aligned with societal expectation. But there are other areas where the person has strength, and you know, so we will not now do what stereotyping that blankets every other good aspect of that person. So the child with autism, from the start, we recognize that they need to be developed in a special way, different from what it's not like somebody who has blindness or who is deaf. You talk about, is it braced? Exactly. So we have, I may not be able to espouse them here, but we have skill sets that we use for such children, so that even if we are not able to make them behave or adapt to society as every other person who has no autism would do, but to a large extent they will be able to function very well alongside other members of society.
Okay. So in what ways now do social workers facilitate connections between the different generations?
Okay. I hope I can go on.
Oh, this is good.
We find out that there is the issue of generational gap already. If you notice today, if you go to some homes, you find out that there is a disconnect between parents and their children.
Of course.
Children feel daddy does not know what's up.
Okay.
Mommy is archaic. Mommy is old school.
Old school, yes.
And the mother is saying, okra does not.
No, not the owner.
You
That's
must.
where you want to plug
This
in
is
to
not
bring it down.
exactly. This is not how we were in the 1970s. Why should you be putting on this kind of clothes? Why should you be going to church? And you find that there is already conflict between the older generations and the new ones. Either of them are suspicious of the other. This one says, you don't know what is up. The other one says, the children, you are already destroying the fabrics of society now. So the point is, we try to bridge that gap. We tell parents that, look, in as much as you want to raise your children the proper way, you must understand that there are issues that they are confronting that were not, the same in your time. They have other persons to deal with in society. They have peers to deal with. They have relationships outside the home to handle. So when you are now trying to cast their behavioral patterns in stone, you are not helping them. And I've handled situations where parents over time, because now it's important to say that between the age of 0 to 5, there are some traits that manifest in children. And I don't want to go too professional, but Sigmund Freud talked about the fact that at 7 years, between 7 to 13, that's when the average child is evolving their personality makeup. Those years are very sensitive, in that if you are not able to handle them as a parent, you find out that the children will later develop what they call physicians in adulthood. That's when you talk about adults having children stuck in their bodies. You understand what I mean? They are adults, yet
They act like children.
the child in them did not evolve into an adult. For example, you tell your children that, you know what happens, you must marry from this tribe. If you don't marry, and the child says, I'm in love with someone from, maybe, I don't want to mention this for the sake of not stigmatizing, I'm wanting to marry from somewhere. And you say, no. Those people because you are prejudiced. Those people they don't stay in husbands' houses, this and that.
They are Usu.
And the child says, no. Why are you trying to use a blanket assessment for everybody in front of you? You say, no. And the child goes ahead to marry the woman against the will of the parents. Already there is a friction that is looking like it's irreconcilable.
Yes.
So at that point, social workers need to intervene because there is a tipping point. The moment it breaks down, so many things may not be able to be brought back to normalcy. So before it gets to that point, social workers need to intervene. You have children or adults who they can't live in their homes without going back to mommy to report everything
One
that
thing
their
that
wives do,
happened,
because they
yeah.
were not raised to be independent.
Yes.
And I want to advise parents, in as much as you want to be doting over your children, sometimes give them space to also
Explore.
Because
Express
when I was in Uniben, I found out that so many children, smart, intelligent, but they couldn't break away from the apron strings of their mother or their parents. Any sort of mommy, they'll start. One of them even committed suicide because he had a spillover. He couldn't cope because he was not prepared for it. A parent who follows the child to school before time of closure, you're already waiting at the car park to ferry them home. When they get home, you have already arranged a private teacher to teach them. It's like there's a timetable of their daily life. After that, go to bed. Junior, go to bed. Junior cannot play with children because all those things we talk about in terms of role play, all those things are the things that shape children's
Help
life.
children.
When they interact with others, they are able to make decisions,
Yes.
and
See life from a
exactly.
different,
So you are policing them when they want to do SSE. You take them to the center. You wait for them at the park. When the result comes out, you go check for them. Suddenly, the child finds himself or herself in a university setting.
Yeah, you're not there to
where you are
monitor
not
every
longer
day.
there, and they are expected to live like adults that they were not prepared for. And you find out that because of the accusations that, and you see, just like you say, you called upon your mom just called me or your dad just called me. They want to know how. So by the time they are left alone, they can't cope.
Okay, so quickly, time now is gradually culminating. But we can't do without speaking to this particular spot. Your reason for being here. I'm aware that tomorrow it's the world.
Relate with one another in all the relationship, the close relationship between the various generations, let's say the father, the children, the younger ones. So when we talk about strengthening it, with, like I said, there's already a disconnect. So we want this thing is up so that we can find a way to bridge the gap, so that there will be interrelationship. They can coexist peacefully, help one another, stand for one another, so that the society will be a better place tomorrow. Where there is, if the problem we have is social problem or social issues we have in the society, is partly from this disconnectedness. So because the parents have not been able to socialize the children, or rather, maybe the children are feeling the method of socialization is coming up. So this year's World Social Work Day is aimed not just for after tomorrow, but throughout this period to make sure that we bridge this gap in various aspects of life, every aspect of life, in the family, in the school, everywhere, so that the society can come back to the normal society that functions effectively.
All right, I will say, Honorable Idu, Amara. Olomo, okay. I want you to actually, as a way of a rider, also let's have your perception as well. Moving forward.
My chairperson has spoken about the fact that intergenerational talks about, two different, coming together. And I like the point she raised, that it's not just about the home front. Our activities cut across all segments of society. Even for you as a journalist, a seasoned one and a veteran, and your sister who is also, we are also thinking about how, because the truth is, society is a composition of social interactions. The traditional ruler with his subjects are involved in multiple layers of social interactions or relationships. You and your colleague. So it's about the fact that society has to have a smooth transition always. Very soon, we look forward to a time when you retire healthily and all that. But we need to also be careful not to let what you have not get to the upcoming generation after you. So that transition, smooth transition, and transition is what we are advocating, and that's what we want to achieve. And solidarity talks about the fact that we are not at war with one another.
Exactly.
Let's all see ourselves, whether at the home front, whether in the office, at work, let's see ourselves as partners in progress.
Okay.
Because the moment that disconnection is allowed to fester too far and too extensively, so many things will go wrong. Continuity may not be assured anymore in society. A situation where, for example, the traditional ruler does not raise his heir apparent in a manner that he would function with seamlessly in that office. You find out that when the heir apparent gets on the throne, so many things will go wrong. So whether you are a parent, whether you are a boss, whatever it is, we are saying the next generation should not suffer by reason of your acts and actions of negligence to impact them on in the process of continuity. That's what we are looking at.
So let's look at common challenges now, because we know in every organization there are bound to be challenges.
Sure.
So what are the common challenges in promoting intergenerational solidarity, and how can social workers address these challenges?
One of the challenges is that people they are not amenable to change. There are some people who are set in their ways. This is the way we are doing it, and that's how it will remain. And somebody is telling you, no, there are already behavioral variations in society that we need to. No.
They're just
Enjoy. For example, I know that there was a time this studio was analog in its operations. But the modern reality now is that everything has gone digital. But you find some people who are still stuck on this is the way we used to do it, and this is the way we do. For example, we talked about the women folk in society. You hear people say women are supposed to be seen and not heard.
Okay.
And I don't want to refer to the issue of Natasha.
Okay.
Because they tell you it's a man's word. It's a male society, So many of us see the concept of feminism as if it's something to be thrown away completely. But we are not also looking at the strength within, wherein that women are asking to not only be seen, but to be heard. And so the point is, society has to realize that it cannot always continue the way it used to be.
Sure.
One of the major challenges is that people are not given to changing their ways that are set already. And that's why if you go to the traditional ruler now in the village, for example, you tell them that, look, women have to be made chiefs, for example. They tell you, no, women cannot be chiefs. The idea is not about being a chief, but the idea is that chiefs are the ones who take decisions on behalf of every other person. So why should the men only be the ones taking decisions that impact on both women and So there are others, but because of time, I believe that we will not be able to exhaust them.
I'd like to thank you so much, my chairman and ex-official. Tomorrow is the day that has been set aside. So what are the activities that are actually lined up for this celebration?
Actually, the activities we're going to do a rally.
Please be audible.
We'll be doing a rally, which will start from this Professor Chike Edozie Secretariat. We now go to the stadium. We meet up with the team of the Executive Assistant on Social Work of Delta State, and we all go together to Ogbogonogo, where we do sensitization, give flyers, tell them the need, what social workers do when they have such issue, where to go to find solutions. We are going to sensitize them. Then thereafter, I think the executive assistant we said is having a symposium for some people on Wednesday. She would have been here, but she said she's very much engaged.
Okay.
So those are the things we have going on.
She would have been here. But that means she is not, no matter the level of engagement, even if she can't come in today, she You can come in tomorrow, at least before the work
Okay, that'll be fine.
starts. You know, even if it's for
Well,
20
the,
minutes.
the reason for saying I like that, sir, because the state government is doing so much
Yes.
in the area of social, so she will be better placed to relate that with.
And because you have also done so well. I know my chuma, this is not your first time
No,
on this program
I've
with
been
me.
here before, yes,
And
I've
this,
been here.
but this is the first time
Yes, this is
I'm,
first
I'm
time.
engaging Honorable Honorable
Yes,
Brad. And these are the kind of things that we want to always let our people know. You know, because if you have not come to True Light now, we'll just assume that it's one of those things. You know, and for you to also have an executive assistant to the governor.
And she's doing so much.
She's doing so much. That is just like winking to a lady in the dark. If she doesn't come to give you the much expected publicity.
But tell you, I have a problem with people always going to Gogodogo market, thinking that's the only place they can get attention. But we have other markets here in Delta State, here in Asaba,
Yes,
that they can go to. But it's
Abraham
being
Market.
neglected.
During the International Day
The
of Women,
midwifery
we went to midwifery.
Market, okay. The Anioma market.
Yes,
Market.
And midwifery
They're not the
during the day of the International Women's Day.
Okay.
That was where
Where
they
they
went
went
to.
to,
So this
okay.
time now we want to move it
It's
to.
okay, it's fine. So
So-
let's inculcate all women.
Yes, yes,
because
yes, yes.
they are
So,
even
so
the ones
please,
who need to
please,
speak.
very, very free. We are there for you. There's a working synergy
Synergy.
between the
Greatly
media
appreciate this honor.
and the social worker,
Thanks.
so that we can carry advocacy, you know, and informing the people through this level of enlightenment. So I'd like to thank you so much,
Thank you so much.
Mrs. Adebayo Jane Ohore, Chairman, Nigerian Association of Social Workers, Delta State Council. And of course, Honorable Bright Olomo, ex-official. Yes, you guys are such a delight
Thank you.
for me.
Thank you so
Thank you
much
very
for
much.
coming.
I greatly appreciate it. Thank you
We
very much.
also look forward to you syndicating the executive assistant to be here
Exactly.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
We can do that as early as bright as we can,
that'll be lovely.
so that we can also look at what is happening up for Women's Day through the symposium.
That's a good
I'd like to thank you so much,
Thank you so much.
Chairman and ex-official. You've spoken so well on the topic, impact of social worker in the society. Tomorrow is the Social Workers Day. It has as its theme, strengthening intergenerational solidarity for enduring well-being. Let's be part of all of these successes put together. We'll take a break and we'll come back. It'll be yet another point on Morning Ride. All right. It's still all
So,
running right. You know, it's all about excitement, really. That's the only way we can fly.
yes.
All right, really.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
go to our papers today. We'll begin with This Day newspaper. On This Day newspaper headline, we have Fubara frustrating budget presentation. 27 lawmakers claim as Rivers crisis festers. The top screen we have Lamido to El-Rufai. Personal grievances should not be basis for Tinubu's removal. And right here we have Limon Ikepa conferred with Doctor of Engineering. So you can grab a copy of This Day newspaper to peruse other stories.
Yes, Limon, over the weekend, was actually conferred with a doctorate degree at the Federal University of Petroleum Engineering because of his contributions towards the engineering sector. Congratulations to you again, Limon, on that. All right, the Punch is the next paper for review, and the Punch has more like the airstrip. Budget letter, Rivers Assembly diva. Fubara urges House to reconvene. And below that, how subsidy removal tension worsened Niger's fuel scarcity. A little bit, you can imagine 8,000 naira per liter in Niger.
8,000 naira per liter.
Nigeria had to come in. And this is Niger that said they were not going to be part of the ECOWAS issue.
Okay. The Guardian newspaper is next. Worries over sharp practices, abuse of free trade zones regulation. And we have 2027, Wike others affirm support for Tinubu's second term amid growing opposition. NAFDAC seizes 100 truckloads of unsafe drugs and narcotics. Army attacks Echo Disco over power outage. And that's it on the Guardian newspaper.
That paper was not showcased. Okay, we'll take on the Nigerian Tribune. The Nigerian Tribune, it's our next paper for review. And Bob Duma said, coalition to challenge APC, PC. And federal government must stop threatening Nigerians for criticizing government. Amnesty, saying all of that. And below that, SDP, Sule Lamido tackles El-Rufai. And you just pick up a copy of that. If PDP is struggling today, it is still the party that nurtured El-Rufai. If he claims PDP is dead, then he must remember that it is the party that gave him the political foundation. Whatever he has achieved today, PDP made it possible. All right? Why Niger is facing deep fuel crisis, refinery chief, and smuggling surges along border communities. All right? I think that's the major story. And the other story are more advertorial now. We might not go to that conversation since that is an advertorial story there. All right, that's it for the Daily Trust this Monday morning.
Finally, the Pointer newspaper is last. Opposition in Delta, Alliance of Strange Bedfellows. And this is according to Anyagu. TCN BEDC trade blame. TCN BEDC trade blame over power outage. NDLEA seizes skunk, heroin across 6 states. And on the editorial, we have tackling incessant suspension of lawmakers. 6 die as truck rams into crowd in Onitsha. Police take over accidents scene. And that's it on the Pointer newspaper. Yes, and that's it on dailies this morning.
And it's just that we might not be able to analyze
No, no,
our
we'll
story,
not be able to analyze.
except otherwise
Yeah.
we would have just been able to
Hmm.
go through that.
Yes.
Okay, I think this is where we'll wrap it up for today.
Sure.
It's been quite an exciting moment. Riding on a Monday trip, a cruise, if you ask me. Yeah, so Lilibet.
Well, my word for you this morning is stay happy and make sure you make other people happy just as we celebrate the Act Happy Day today. Have a blessed week ahead.
Okay, if the landlord comes knocking on your door, asking for you to pay his bills, don't worry.
Be happy.
happy. My name is Onometano. God bless Delta State. God bless Nigeria. I'm out.